Reporting, David Muir.
Good afternoon, and we come on the air this Friday afternoon. It is 2:42 here in the east, which makes it 10:42 in the morning in Anchorage, Alaska, and there is breaking news coming in that we're monitoring. A pair of back-to-back earthquakes, the first one measuring 7.0 right outside of Anchorage. People racing into the streets. There's already reports of significant damage inside buildings. Some of the pictures emerging that appears to be a newsroom right there that we're looking at. People heading out into the streets, but then going back inside when yet another earthquake struck. 5.8 was the size and scope of that earthquake. They did an initial warning, a tsunami warning triggered in Kodiak for people to flee to higher ground for fear of a tsunami. That tsunami warning has now been lifted. There were no reports as of last check of any deaths or serious injuries, but this did cause significant damage in and around Anchorage. You can see the pictures coming in. Some have been posted to social media already showing fractured roads, bridges with damage to them, grocery stores with items that have come off the shelves are now sitting in the aisles of those stores. Again, there were two earthquakes, one just outside Anchorage. The first one, a major quake, 7.0. People fleeing buildings and homes, going out for fear that those buildings would collapse. When they went back inside, that's when the second earthquake hit, a 5.8. I want to bring in our senior national correspondent, Matt Gutman, who's monitoring this from our Los Angeles bureau. And Matt, what are we learning?
David, there is significant infrastructural damage in and around Anchorage, that according to the local police there. You've just shown a number of images of damage inside, but we hear that roads are significantly impacted as well, including all of the roads or most of the roads leading to the airport. Now, the airport itself, we are told, has not sustained damage. The air traffic control tower was evacuated, but all 5 major airports in and around Alaska's Anchorage are closed down right now. That as we do not have any reports of injuries or loss of life. As you noted, that is very important right now, but the governor has declared a state of emergency. They're calling in the National Guard and asking for resources at this point. We've also heard of some power outages. Telephone landlines are down in and around Anchorage. So this is a significant quake. And one of the things that seismologists, David, are looking at is not necessarily the magnitude, but the shaking, the intensity. And apparently it was felt very severely in Anchorage.
A number of people weighing in across social media, the fear factor as the first quake struck and then hit again with the second one a short time after. Our thanks to Matt Gutman. And Matt mentioned the governor's called in the National Guard for help. Governor Bill Walker also tweeting that after a major earthquake, I've issued a declaration of disaster. I have been in direct contact with the White House. Major General Lori Hummel and I are now working with emergency responders to make sure Alaskans are safe. That tweet from Governor Walker just a short time ago. There was a tweet from Sarah Palin as well, asking for prayers for Alaska, saying our family is intact, but our home is not. She went on to say, I imagine that's the case for many, many others. So thankful to be safe. That from Sarah Palin. And just to give you an idea of the chaos that broke out when these earthquakes struck, this is a piece of audio coming in from air traffic control right there at the International Airport in Anchorage. These are the folks at the radio tower actually communicating with pilots who were coming in for landing as this was happening. Listen to this.
FedEx, go around. FedEx, go around. Is that for FedEx? Tower FedEx 49. FedEx 49 heavy, go around. Going around FedEx 49. Roger, sir. Are you planning to evacuate the tower? Airport 10, we're just inspecting it now. It looks as part of ceilings come down and our equipment's everywhere.
Air traffic controllers urging pilots to go around. You could hear the pilot there asking, are you going to evacuate the airport? We heard Matt Gutman report a short time ago that the airport does not appear to be damaged, although there is significant damage in and around Anchorage. You can see there the cars off the road, the aisles of the grocery store. There have been reports of damage to several homes, to structures, to highways as well, and the bridges. I do want to bring in meteorologist Rob Marciano, who obviously knows quite a bit about this. And Rob, the USGS has 26 urban areas here in the United States that are listed for potential significant seismic activity. And as you know, Anchorage, Alaska is on that list.
It certainly is, David, and you hear about earthquakes all the time in the state of Alaska, especially along the Aleutian Island chain, which is along that rim of fire, which is where the Pacific tectonic plate converges with the North American plate. And we have all those volcanoes that are so active, and that's where we get a lot of earthquakes. But this is significant in that this earthquake happened right in the center of a metropolitan area, a major earthquake at 7.0 magnitude, and also a very shallow earthquake, David, at about 40 kilometers. So that shaking and potential damage is felt even worse. So although we can expect to see earthquakes in this area of this size about 15 to 20 times in a century, to have one of this size right basically in Anchorage, Alaska, is quite significant with all the infrastructure damage, and that's what makes this particular quake, David, the most startling.
Yeah, no doubt about that. That's what makes this particularly rare, is the size and scope near such a huge population area. About 300,000 people live in Anchorage. As Rob mentioned, Alaska, no stranger to earthquakes. In fact, Alaska averages 40,000 earthquakes per year, with more large quakes than 49 other states combined. As you heard us report there earlier, no reports of any injuries or any deaths at this point. We are joined by Dr. Owen Alla, a surgeon who was operating when the earthquakes hit. And Dr. Owen, can you hear me? It's David Muir.
I can hear you, yes, thanks.
Tell me what you heard, what you witnessed, certainly as you were in the operating room, and reassure us, obviously, that the patient's okay.
Yeah, no, the patients are great. It's our staff did a really good job taking care of all the patients. We have a kind of a large ambulatory surgery center here, and it's we had a number of different surgeries going on at the same time, and everybody did a really good job taking care of everybody. But one thing that's impressive is how loud these earthquakes are. I mean, you actually hear it starting before you actually feel it, and it's almost kind of like a freight train's coming through. But everything was, the whole building started shaking, and including all the instruments in the operating room.
You're right there in Anchorage?
I am, yeah, downtown Anchorage.
We know the population of Anchorage is 300,000. Dr. Owen Alla, thanks for joining us, and we're glad to hear that the patients are okay. But that gives you an idea of the scope of how this was felt, both in hospitals, in schools. There are reports coming in from schools, this appearing to be a newsroom there, where there is significant damage inside. Obviously, one of the easiest places to get images in for us here at ABC. We do know that schools, there have been pictures on social media of darkened hallways, infrastructure along roadways, significant damage. That's what makes it fairly remarkable that there have been no reports of any injuries as of yet. Again, Governor Bill Walker declaring a disaster, asking for help from the National Guard, among other agencies. We heard from Sarah Palin, who again asked for prayers for Alaska. She reports that there was damage at her home, guessing that there are many others. I want to check back in with Matt Gutman, who's based in California and who has covered earthquake fears and certainly the number of earthquakes. Again, Alaska, no stranger to seismic activity.
That's right. Alaska is no stranger, and one of the people who has been monitoring Alaskan earthquakes for decades is Dr. Lucy Jones. And I spoke to her specifically about this quake just minutes after it happened, David. And she basically said that seismologists and geologists focus on the intensity of the shaking. That's what caused all that freight train kind of noise that Dr. Alla was talking about. There is so much shaking, the ground is moving, and in a level 8 intensity. That's just one level down from the Northridge quake, which killed 57 people, nearly 9,000 people were injured, caused $50 billion in damage, and the same intensity as the '89 earthquake in San Francisco that rocked the World Series. That's the kind of shaking that was felt, and that kind of shaking can destroy older infrastructure. It can cause older buildings to collapse, single-family homes. So we are talking about something that is significant. And just to give you a sense of how significant it is, Anchorage is right on the Cook's Inlet. That Cook's Inlet, according to Lucy Jones, probably widened by 5 to 10 feet just because of that first quake today, David.
Matt Gutman with us here this afternoon as we watch this unfold. A pair of earthquakes outside Anchorage, Alaska. It happened 8:30 their time. We've been following reports of damage coming in for the last couple of hours. It's 2:51 here in the east. Obviously, they're 4 hours behind us here in the east as they continue to look at the damage. This from the Anchorage Fire Department at this hour. The municipality is requesting that people only call 911 for significant emergencies. Obviously, they're being inundated. But again, no reports of injuries as of yet, and no deaths. Quite remarkable given the population center. This was right in Anchorage. Again, 2 two earthquakes back to back, the first measuring 7.0. Many witnesses describing the sheer sound of this. One man telling the Associated Press he was getting coffee when the entire building sounded like it was going to come down. He said, we just had to get out. This was echoed in so many places. People evacuating when they thought it was safe, they went back in. And then the second earthquake hit, that one measuring 5.8. We will continue to follow this all afternoon long. Much more on our live channel and at abcnews.com. And of course, our team on this on World News Tonight. I'll see you a bit later right here. Good day.
This has been a special report from ABC News.
And thanks for joining us for our continuing breaking news coverage of a 7.0 magnitude earthquake in Alaska. We're still getting images and information in, so it's a fluid situation. Bear with us as we put all of this together. But what we know right now, so far no reports of any injuries, but we do know that earthquake, a 7.0 magnitude, shook Anchorage earlier this morning. There you can see it right there on the map in the Anchorage area. We're still getting information coming in, but I understand our Matt Gutman is in Los Angeles, who's been following this as well. We are getting some images too, these videos from various people who are in the Anchorage area and witnessed this. We've seen some significant damage to roadways, to bridges. We understand that some lights and telephone poles were swaying when that earthquake hit. A 7.0 is a significant, severe earthquake. Now, it all depends on exactly where the epicenter was and other factors, including what the ground material was made up of, how deep that earthquake was when it struck. But you can see these people there taking cover, and that is the drop and cover position that we're seeing of people who live along the rim of fire. Alaska's certainly there along the U.S. West Coast are familiar with these earthquake drills. They have seen these in the past, but some of the witness statements that we're getting from people is that this is among the strongest they've ever felt in that area. Let's take a listen to what one witness had to say.
Once again, we showed you this a little earlier, the inside of the building. This is the ceiling tiles have fallen. This is sort of what we're looking at in our the foyer in our station. Once again, you can see the water damage and the ceiling tiles have fallen. Take a quick peek in this area. Once again, this is a bunch of standing water from the pipes bursting. It's got a lot of damage. Once again, please send in photos and videos you have of your damage, and hopefully you are all safe. And if you are not, please contact emergency services. But we are interested in showing more people the kind of damage that Alaska has undergone and what we've seen today. Once again, this is sort of our area.
And that there from CBS affiliate KTVA in Anchorage, Alaska. You can see the significant damage, the things that are down on the ground. Obviously, a 7.0 magnitude quake is definitely severe. Let's go ahead and get a little bit more insight on exactly what this means, where it was, where it struck, with Rich Briggs, who's joining us now. He's a research geologist from the National Earthquake Center. Rich, can you hear me?
I sure can.
Walk me through first. We know that it's a 7.0 magnitude quake. But exactly where was it in relation to the densely populated areas like around Anchorage, Alaska, for example?
Well, you can picture Anchorage sitting on a piece of the earth that has a big slab underneath it that's being shoved underneath there along the subduction zone. And that slab, about 25 miles beneath Anchorage, is bending and contorting as it gets dragged down into the earth. And so this earthquake beneath Anchorage was in that slab as it breaks apart.
How deep was it? So when we say a 7.0, I mean, it's pretty high up there on the scale. And we're looking at images right now. This is what looks like a freeway overpass that collapsed. We're talking about significant damage here. Do we have any information about the depth and how that could have impacted what people felt on the ground?
Yeah, so this was a moderately deep earthquake. It was about 25 miles deep beneath Anchorage in that downgoing slab. And when you think about what a magnitude 7 is, earthquakes are really slip on faults. And so what this was about 2 yards of movement along about a 25-mile long buried fault. And it suddenly slipped at depth and then shook the basin and everything above it quite hard.
So you said 25 miles deep. I lived in Los Angeles for a period of time. I also lived in Northern California. I remember vividly the '89 earthquake on the San Andreas Fault there. 25 miles deep sounds significant. If this were a more shallow earthquake, would we see more significant damage?
Yeah, so there are trade-offs here. Because this was deep, that makes the shaking slightly less. But on the other hand, it's over a wide area, and it's coming up through a big basin. The Cook Inlet is a giant bowl of sediment that will have amplified shaking.
Historically, can you put this in perspective for this area? I mean, for people who lived in California, obviously they're familiar with earthquakes. People who live in Alaska are familiar with earthquakes. As you mentioned, this is along that Pacific rim of fire that people are familiar with. But when we've been hearing from witnesses, they've said that people who've lived in Alaska their whole lives, they've never felt anything quite like this. Historically, how significant is this earthquake compared to others we've seen recently in Alaska?
You know, it's a funny thing about people. We often just hear stories that go back just as far as our grandparents and maybe our great-grandparents. And Alaskans, most grandparents of Alaskans will remember the '64 earthquake. And, of course, that was one of the biggest earthquakes on record. Since then, there have been quite a few other big earthquakes, and sevens happen in Alaska very frequently, but they usually happen in places that are away from people or infrastructure. And so while this isn't a rare event in Alaska, Alaskans are used to big earthquakes. This is one that just hit the bullseye underneath Anchorage. Sorry.
And when we talk about it, I'm just, looking back in my old earthquake notes here from living in California. That's 7 to 7.9 magnitude range. That's classified as a major quake. We're talking about serious damage over large areas, about 18 per year. We see these around the world. But in terms of this area of Anchorage, based on some of the images that you're seeing, are we just scratching the surface now? Are we expecting this to get a lot worse as we get more information?
You know, I'm probably seeing some of the same images you are of ground failure, and it's very impressive. Typically what happens is that as we wait hours and days, we find out more, especially in the surrounding areas. I'd imagine the north side of Cook Inlet will reveal some more damage. It's hard to say, but typically we find out as time goes on more damage in places that we haven't looked.
We understand there was another earthquake as well. Typically, we always see aftershocks, especially with a major quake like this. What are some of the significant aftershocks that you've been recording?
I think so far rolling in, we've seen a 5.7 magnitude aftershock. USGS does have an earthquake aftershock prediction tool now that's posted on the event page. And when you go to that, there's some numbers that have been run. And right now, the way the numbers stand is there's a 4% chance of a magnitude 7 or larger within a week, and then it drops off after that. The real message here is that any big earthquake produces aftershocks, and sometimes the aftershocks are as big or bigger than the main shocks. So it's good to be aware of that and be ready to ride out further earthquakes.
We've seen some warnings for people to actually get to higher ground right now. Again, knowing that these aftershocks are a threat, that means there's damaged infrastructure, buildings could still topple, there could still be gas leaks, there could be fires, all sorts of problems. What is important for people to know who are in that earthquake zone?
Yeah, well, the good news is Alaskans are tough, resilient, clever folks. They will be connecting with friends, neighbors, family right now, and being sure that they've got their basic needs met in terms of water, food, shelter, thinking about what happens next, thinking it's obviously winter there, and then also thinking for the next few weeks that the aftershock risk is elevated and aware of that.
All right, Rich Briggs, research geologist with the National Earthquake Center. If you'd please stay with us on the line, we'd love to check back with you in a moment. First, though, we do want to go to our Matt Gutman, who's in Los Angeles. And I know, Matt, you've been talking to Dr. Lucy Jones, who, I mean, people in California are very familiar with her. She's been one of the leading voices on earthquake preparedness. What is she telling you about this earthquake and what people need to know right now?
Things that are very similar to what the seismologist who was just on before me said. What they're focused on right now is not necessarily the magnitude and depth, but it's the location and intensity. And to some degree, obviously, the location defines the intensity. And this was a level 8 intensity. And you mentioned earlier with the San Francisco quake in 1989, the famous World Series quake, that had an intensity of 8. And that is what the folks in Anchorage have felt today, at least in that first earthquake, which is significant. That is the kind of intensity and heavy shaking that can cause infrastructure, especially older infrastructure, to collapse. It can cause single-family homes to go down, roads to cave in. So it is significant. It is life-threatening. We have no reports so far that anybody has been killed or wounded. We do know that there is significant damage to infrastructure in and around Anchorage. 5 airports are closed. No major damage there, but the roads to the airports are damaged. We just got a report that there are gas leaks in and around Anchorage, so people are told if they smell gas to move away because apparently it may have sparked fires, and you're seeing people tweeting out and sending out images of fires everywhere, in addition to all those images of shells being emptied and damage on the roadway. So this level 8 intensity shaking is significant, and it is something that people are very concerned about out there. Now, in addition to that, we're all concerned about aftershocks in Anchorage, and every earthquake has aftershocks. That's pretty much the settlement of the subduction zones there that everybody has been talking about. So that is a major concern. This event is not yet over, and of course, the governor of Alaska has declared a state of emergency. He's been in touch with Department of Homeland Security. The president is aware of the National Guard is being called out, and we're talking about such a significant emergency right now in Anchorage that banks are only allowing people to withdraw a certain amount of money from ATMs because apparently there's only one real way in and out to resupply the banks in and out of Anchorage. So this is a major, major incident that Anchorage is dealing with right now.
And Matt, you made a great point about the gas leaks and some of the ongoing issues. For those of us who covered the Northridge quake in Southern California, many of the significant injuries from that earthquake actually happened after the shaking stopped. So this was people trying to run out of their homes, broken glass on the floors, buildings that hadn't collapsed yet. People go back inside, then a bookshelf falls over, things like that. What information are you getting about, I mean, we're seeing the images of some collapsed roads, people ducking for cover in grocery stores, but what other information are you getting about some of the damage and infrastructure problems that they're experiencing in the Anchorage area?
Mostly the roadways. This seems to be the significant problem. It's obviously winter there, so people are getting caught on these cracked roads. Traffic jams are enormous. Air traffic control has closed the airports, the 5 airports around Anchorage, so nobody's coming in or out via the airports. So again, the airports themselves have not at least released reports of any significant damage. But there are unverified reports of overpasses down and things like that, but we have not been able to verify any of those. I think the most critical thing to note right now is that we have not had any reports of injuries or death, and so far that is very good news, yet that could change in the coming hours. We're also hearing that landlines are down. So I just tried to call a friend of mine, Mike Cronk, who lives about 150 miles north of there, and I couldn't get through on the cell phone. So I think communication has been a problem that some people have been encountering, certainly on landlines, and we may learn more about reported injuries and deaths later on. I want to go back to what you just mentioned about gas leaks, Whit, because I do think that it's a critical point to make. Not only in the Northridge quake, but also in San Francisco, both in '89 and in 1906, that devastating earthquake that essentially gutted San Francisco. The major reason that San Francisco was so destroyed was because a firestorm started because of gas leaks. That's what happened. So I don't think we're going to see that kind of cataclysmic damage in Anchorage. It's much more contained. Also, it's a much more dispersed city, 300,000 people, but not as densely packed as San Francisco was there. But those gas leaks are a major concern. So if anybody is out there watching this, if you do smell gas, get away as quickly and as safely as possible.
Great advice, and just a reminder too, a lot of the people who live in Alaska and up and down the West Coast, they are familiar with this. They are prepared. They've been through the drills. Homes and buildings, many have been retrofitted. At least the new buildings that have been built in this area have been built to withstand this sort of shaking. When we talk about gas leaks, also, Matt, as you know, in California, a lot of the gas lines, the gas meters on homes have an automatic shutoff that is supposed to be in place in case of an earthquake. Those don't always function properly, so it's definitely a concern. But hopefully, because it's Alaska, they are prepared for this sort of thing. Hopefully, that will minimize some of the damage that we've seen in the earlier earthquakes. Matt, hang with us for a moment. I do want to check back with you. I want to transition to our Rob Marciano, who's joining us on the phone right now, one of our meteorologists here and works with me on Weekend GMA here. Rob, what are you observing and learning about this earthquake, some of the information coming in so far, Rob?
Well, the number of aftershocks is always unsettling, I can tell you that. We've got at least 18 aftershocks of magnitude 3.0 or greater, with the biggest aftershock being the one immediately following the initial one, and that one is at 5.7. To expand on what the seismologist was saying earlier, there's a 27% chance of seeing a magnitude 6. Let's consider a major earthquake, a magnitude 6 earthquake happening in and around the Anchorage area within the next week. So basically a 1 in 4 chance of seeing an earthquake nearly at the magnitude of the initial earthquake. So these are valid concerns that everybody in the zone certainly should have and should be worried about, and first responders who are no doubt scrambling right now to get to the people that need help, to be surveying the damage for safety, the infrastructure for safety. I mean, there's a chance at any time here in the next week, 1 in 4 is a realistic chance of seeing an earthquake that is going to not just do damage to what is now a more fragile infrastructure, but potentially just do some fresh damage as well. So it's a dynamic situation that's going on there right now. Just because we had a 7.0 magnitude quake happen a couple of hours ago doesn't mean that the danger is over.
Also, and Rob, that you make a great point. There's also, and we're familiar with this in other parts of the world too, where we've seen a lot of earthquakes, that there is a 5% chance that an earthquake is a foreshock to an even bigger, stronger earthquake. Now, as the time goes on, and we've seen several hours pass, that percentage drops significantly with every moment that goes by. And obviously with a 7.0 magnitude quake, that's a significant rupture along the fault line. So it's unlikely that you'd see one bigger, but you could certainly have an aftershock that can continue to do damage. And Rob, you were talking about some of those earthquakes. I pulled up some of the aftershocks. There was the 5.7 that came just a few minutes later, and it's been on and on. Several 4.0s, 3.5. So in that range, you're not going to have the same amount of damage to a solid building. However, if the building is already rattled, pieces are knocked off its foundation, you can see some of these aftershocks cause, even minor aftershocks can still cause some damage as things have been rattled loose. Rob Marciano for us, thank you so much. Again, we're following this 7.0 magnitude earthquake in the area around Anchorage, Alaska. And what we've talked about, Matt Gutman pointed this out, which is very important to note. We talk about magnitude a lot because that's a very easy measurement tool for people to pay attention to. But in terms of the level of intensity, there are several different factors that come into play, including how close you are to the epicenter, how deep that earthquake is, and of course the type of ground that is above the earthquake. In other words, the fault line. So this area of Alaska is in an area known as the Cook Inlet there. And so you have this sediment basin. This is also known in other parts of the country as liquefaction. And this is a type of ground surface that can shake a little bit easier. And so we are seeing significant damage here with this 7.0 magnitude, but that level of intensity, as Gutman pointed out, level 8. Same as the '89 earthquake in the San Francisco Bay Area. So that gives you a sense of how strong the shaking is. One other thing to point out, we've been talking about transportation, and fortunately at this point, no reports of injuries as you're seeing all this video play out. But we are getting information from Ted Stevens International Airport in Anchorage, and they are saying that, again, they have no reports of injuries to any of their guests or employees at the airport. But as a precaution, Alaska Airlines suspending operations at that airport until at least 12:30 p.m. Pacific time. So that's, you know, we're coming up on that time here on the East Coast. But this is no doubt a reassessment time for them as all the crews go and try to get an understanding of what happened and what infrastructure is in place. We'll continue to follow all of this. For the latest information, you can go to abcnews.com, or you can sign up on the ABC News app for breaking news alerts straight to your smartphone. Please come back to ABC News World News Tonight on your local ABC station for the very latest with David Muir. I'm Whit Johnson in New York. Thanks for watching.